Since posting my first video, a lot of you have asked, how did I actually move here? So I thought I'd share a little bit about what I've learned, from cost of living to visa options to how I found my villa, and share a little bit about what it really feels like to live here as a foreigner. Quick backstory for those that are new here. I first visited Bali back in 2018, and I remember thinking back then how amazing it would be to live here one day. And so after a big life change, I decided to give Bali a chance and come back here for a fresh start. First up is visas, and there are several different visas that you can get depending on how long you're going to stay, and it also depends on what country you're from. The best thing I can recommend is to reach out to a visa agent, get some professional help, and see what they recommend, because rules here can change quickly. I will link below which agent I used, but there are plenty here in Bali, and you can look them up on Google and read their reviews, and you can just reach out to them via WhatsApp and start asking questions, and they will be able to help you. If you're just coming to visit, you can do a visa on arrival, which means you get 30 days, and then you can apply for an extension and get an additional 30 days. But again, that doesn't apply to everyone. It depends on what country you're from. So if you're looking to stay longer than 60 days, I definitely recommend working with a visa agent. They will help make the process that much smoother for you and be able to answer any of your questions. Okay, next is cost of living. For this villa, the rent is 9 million Indonesian rupiah per month, which is about $550 per month. I just have an agreement with the Balinese owner of this place to pay him monthly. Included in the cost of rent for this villa is electricity, water, and cleaning once a week. Food. So the food here is a big reason why I wanted to come back. I love Ubud specifically because there are so many plant-based options. And not only are there a lot of options, but they do it so well here. It is so delicious, so healthy, and it is extremely affordable. When I go out to eat, I usually spend around $6 to $10 for a meal. If you eat more local at what's called the warongs, you're typically looking at something between like $3 and $5 for a meal. And then for groceries, I spend around $30 every 5 days or so. That is shopping at a local market and then also at a supermarket. Transportation. My main transportation is my scooter, which costs me 1.4 million rupiah per month. That can vary depending on what type of scooter you decide to rent. So I've seen prices vary from about 1.2 million a month for a smaller scooter like a Scoopy to 2.2 million a month for a larger scooter like an NMAX. And then the gas to fill up for me is usually between $3 and $4. Scooters are by far the main mode of transportation. And if you don't feel comfortable riding a scooter or don't know how, then you can just rent a scooter taxi, which is called Grab or Gojek here. And the cost per ride is usually like less than $1, maybe up to $3, depending on where you're going, especially if you're just going somewhere local. I personally don't know how I would travel or live in Bali without a scooter. I just love the freedom of being able to get around on my own. If you prefer to travel by car, and in some instances you will need to, then I recommend hiring a driver versus renting a car yourself. Also, no matter what you're renting, make sure to have your international driver's license with you. SIM card and internet. So I forgot to mention earlier, but my internet for the villa is also included in the rental price. For my phone, I use an eSIM called Nomad, and so I just top that up anytime that I need it. So I pay $14 for 5 gigs for 30 days. I probably don't even need 5 gigs because I am on Wi-Fi most of the time. If I'm not on Wi-Fi at home, I am able to get on Wi-Fi at the cafes I go to. So I probably could reduce that, but it is nice to have a higher data plan when you're traveling around. Extra costs. Of course, there are more costs like yoga classes, massages, laundry, gyms, shopping, taxis. There's a lot more to consider, and this will vary by person. Also, if you're living in Bali or traveling anywhere really, it's super important to have health insurance. I say this as someone who got into a scooter accident not long after moving into my villa. I was okay, but I needed medical attention, and having the insurance just gave me a lot of peace of mind. I think I'll talk about that experience in another video, but I wanted to mention it here because it ties into what life here really costs. Not just money, but preparation and awareness too. So for cost of living, I'm averaging about $2,000 a month for my expenses in Bali. Obviously, that cost can vary depending on your situation and your needs. How I found my villa. So I found my villa through a Facebook group, and the Balinese owner of this villa posted that this place was available, and I messaged him, made an appointment to visit it the next morning, decided I liked it, so I booked like 3 days here and said I want to just try it out, and then I committed to a long-term monthly rental. There are other ways to go about finding a place, but I think joining Facebook groups that are specific to the region that you know you want to be in, like Canggu or Uluwatu, Ubud, Ahmed, and either post in those groups saying you're looking for a place or reading the postings that are already there to see what might be available. The best thing to do is just get here, book something that's just short term, and then you can start looking around and visiting places in person. I think that's absolutely essential because a lot of times the pictures look a lot better than in person. There might be other variables that you just don't know until you actually see the place in person. And then there are different types of places to stay. I am in a villa, so I kind of have my own little house. But if you're staying more short term, or if you don't need a space like this, there are options such as guest houses. That's usually like one room in a 4-unit building where you might have your own kitchen or you might have a shared kitchen. Those places might be a little bit cheaper, or it might be in an area that you want to be in. I knew that I wanted a place where I had a bit more space because I wanted the extra privacy, I wanted the extra peace and the quiet. I didn't want to share walls with anyone. I just realized over time that a villa was more suitable for my needs, but you might not need something like that. And just know that there are other options. If you're thinking of moving to Bali, whether it's short term or long term, I hope this gave you some clarity. And my biggest suggestion is just to start small. Like, just get yourself here, get your first week booked, just start taking one step at a time and you'll figure it out. Everyone's path here is different, but this is how mine has looked so far. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.